Hello there, welcome to The Window. My name is Amy and this is a discussion video on whether or not book covers matter. There are three main perspectives in this discussion. There is the publishing / sales perspective, the potential reader's perspective, and the reader's perspective. When a publisher goes to create a cover for a book, I've been told they look at two things. One is the content of the book, and two is whether or not that book will sell, and that can be indicated by other popular books in that genre. From a publisher's perspective, the cover of a book is the face of the book. One of the first things that people find out about, with cover releases. From the publisher's perspective, the book cover really does matter quite a lot because that is sort of their influence on the book, if you know what I mean. That is the thing that they create for the book and to help sell the book. In a bookshop, you generally don't see people reading a lot. They usually read the back cover, so the blurb, and the front cover. I don't know about you, but at my local bookshop, the newest books are displayed covers first, right at the entrance. So really, the cover of a book from a sales and a publishing perspective is the first impression people will get of that book. Now, from a potential reader's perspective, I think that it does matter. Because when you go to an author or a book series or a genre that you don't know very much of, the cover is the first thing that you see and the first impression that is made. I will give you one example of a book where the front cover was all I knew about, and that is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. Now, I've mentioned this a few times on my channel. This was an impulse buy. I saw it at Target. It was $10 and I was like, ooh, a book for $10 with an amazing cover, I'm just gonna buy it. Now, I'd heard the name mentioned on BookTube, but I had no idea what it was about. I assumed it was about London and Russia. That was pretty much all I knew about the book. This was a book that I bought based solely on the cover. Turns out, I loved the book, but not all people love books that they buy from the cover. So from a potential reader's perspective, it really there needs to be some research done. You can't just, well, you can, but you probably shouldn't just buy a book from the cover. For me, reading is a serious business. There are so many books that I want to read, and I just don't have time to read duds. So I do a lot of research. I look up the plot, and I have a look at reviews. Now, reviews aren't always an indication of how much I'm going to enjoy a book. So I think from a potential reader's perspective, the cover shouldn't be overly important. But unfortunately, it is. Now, from a reader's perspective, someone who has bought the book and perhaps they're reading it in public. Now, I don't know about you, but I've read some books with some pretty embarrassing and low quality covers. Here is a cover of a book that I own. I am number 4 by Pittacus Law, and it is the movie cover. Now, when I read this book at school, I had so many people come up to ask me, did you buy this book because you saw the movie? And I was like, no I didn't. I just think he's quite attractive. So I think that from a reader's perspective, you can often get judged by the cover of the book as a person, and your tastes can get judged, and I just think that's wrong. So I think from a reader's perspective, the cover is actually quite important, depending on whether or not you actually care what people think about you. But in reality, there are some amazing books with awful covers. Covers, you're never going to find one cover that everybody is going to love. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like it, and there's nothing you can do about that. But I think that covers shouldn't matter. But it's the unfortunate reality that they do. They are the first impression people have, not only the book itself, the contents of the book, but the author and the reader themselves, which is just an unfortunate reality. And I think that we as a community should try and stop judging books by their covers. If someone wants to buy a movie cover, maybe because it has an attractive male on the front, who cares? They may have seen the movie first, but who's to judge, really? If it makes them want to read a great book, then what does it matter? And I'm going to get into another video later on in a few weeks about whether or not the motivation for reading a book matters, but at the moment, I think that book covers shouldn't matter. Yes, they are beautiful to look at, and yes, they are the first impression, but when you're going to read a book, please take time to look at the Goodreads page, or read the blurb, or ask other people what they thought. Now, that's not necessarily an indication of whether or not you're going to enjoy it, but I think that some books just have awful covers, and there's nothing you can do about that, and it's not the book's fault. So I think that from a publisher's perspective, and that's what I want to do when I grow up. I'm already grown up. When I leave university, that's what I want to do. I want to become a publisher and help bring books to life and make them beautiful. But that being said, I know how to appreciate a good cover, and I know how important they are from a sales perspective. I think we need to change the culture of reading because of a cover. I think that covers are a great indicator of the genre, the contents, the level of sophistication, or the age bracket. I think they are very important things for a reader to consider. So, if I was a 12-year-old girl, I wouldn't pick out a book in the romance section that was called Steamy Love Fest with a half-naked man on the cover and a woman in his arms wearing barely anything, because that's not appropriate for me. So it's a good indicator, but I think that it shouldn't matter, but it does, and I keep saying that. I don't want to make a definitive answer on this. That's not my intention for this video. I just want to open up a discussion and sort of bring the idea to the forefront of your awareness that do you judge books by their covers? I know I do, and I have in the past, but I'm really at the moment trying not to. Yes, books with beautiful covers are lovely to own and they look excellent on your shelf, but are you going to ignore a book or not read it just because of the cover? Is that something you would do or have done in the past? I know I have. Whether or not we judge a book by its cover or by its blurb or by its reviews, I think we need to be aware of what is influencing our decision making when reading. So this video is a little bit confusing, a little bit all over the place, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out there, open up a discussion. Tell me in the comments below what you think, whether you have judged books by their covers, whether you judge people for reading covers that are like movie covers, whether you assume that the reason they've read the book is because they saw the movie, when in reality it might have just been because they want to read the book before the movie comes out, but that was the cheapest option for them. So yeah, I hope you have a good week. I'll see you on Wednesday with a Top 5 Wednesday video. Yeah, don't have much else to say. Bye.